got Cliff of Dry Kill Logic. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
I was gonna say thank you for scheduling with me online. I had a bit of a mishap. So tell me about Aftershock. How was it yesterday?
Oh, it was wild. I mean, again, all of these festivals are just so surreal for us after all this time to be playing stages of this size and, these types of festivals. So, I think we kicked it off and it was a little rainy to begin with, but the weather subsided and we had a great crowd. And, first time we played California in 20 years. So it was a nice return and we were super stoked to be there.
You guys started in the mid 90s. You're from New York. You just flew back to New York.
Correct.
Um, I also realized you guys were Hinge and Hinge AD before the popular dating app Hinge.
Yes.
Why the name change? And have you ever needed to sue the dating app for tons of money that you guys actually had the name first?
No, well, unfortunately, we did not have the name first, which is why we had to change it. So I don't want to bore you with copyright law, but I'll take you through a very quick elevator pitch of what happened. When you sign a contract, the last little bit right before your signature is, I hereby certify that everything that I've stated in this contract is true and to the best of my knowledge. Well, we had never gone through the copyright exercise in the mid 90s of seeing if there was anybody else named Hinge or if there were any, competitive, clauses or, people that were competing for that name. And the way copyright law works is there's categories. So music and entertainment is one category. Turns out that in the music and entertainment category, the word Hinge had already been copywritten by a studio. If we were a barbershop, this would have been fine. But because we were a band and they were a studio, they owned it already. So Roadrunner's legal team reached out and, said something to the effect of, I have a band priority release that's coming out and we need to use the name. And it might as well have ended the sentence with, so name your price. And what they came back with was egregious. So we just were not able to come to a conclusion to be able to use the name under their copyright. And we needed to change it. Dry Kill Logic, we are. But perhaps the owner in that entertainment space has a claim against an app, which is perhaps an electronic and there's some overlay. But unfortunately, we would not be the ones suing.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. And then you guys got the song "Now You Belong with the Dead." It's heavy. It's very heavy. I don't know why people put you in new metal. I don't. I think you're heavier than new metal. Do you have a category that you would put you guys in, or?
Oh, I don't even know. I mean, at this point, it's like we've been called so many things. I'm not entirely sure, and I'm not sure what's a good name or a bad name anymore. I think at the end of the day, like what you hear in that song is probably just a 20-year evolution. I think there's still some pieces of the band that remain intact. How we think about songwriting, how we think about song movements and structure. But there's some parts where we wanted to push the envelope. We wanted to be more dynamic with our songwriting and our structures, and we wanted to think more about melody and how can we be more progressive with how we approach lyrics. And I think that's been the exercise, not just to smash our way through a song the way we did in our earlier years and be maybe a little bit more thoughtful about our choices.
That's kind of like having sex and writing songs. The older you get, you're not smashing through. You're actually taking your time and you're being more romantic about the songwriting process. So,
I suppose that's a good parallel. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So, was there a band that you got to catch yesterday that you were stoked to see?
Um, I ended up doing a lot of press yesterday, so I didn't unfortunately get to see a lot of the acts. But the guys in the band were out and about, and they were like, "Dude, Cattle Decapitation crushed it. Snot always crushes it." Who else did they tell me was really good?
I heard
Speed was
Acid
really
Bath
good.
was really
Acid.
good.
Yeah, I think we had left by the time because we had to get on the plane, so we didn't stay. But we had seen them at, I think it was Incarceration, and they were awesome. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many great bands. I think for me, I'm just kind of, amazed at the level of talent that's out in the world today. It's much different than it was 20 years ago, and I'm sure that's a relatively obvious statement. But when you see it in practice, musically, from a performance perspective, stage shows, it's just really, for me anyway, just exciting to witness, just to be a part of.
With the recent government shutdowns, were flights affected at all for you?
No, everything was fine. I think they TSA is mandatory, but I think we got out pretty quickly. I'm not sure what like Tuesday is going to look like, but within 48 hours of all of the shutdown stuff, airports were still running pretty well. As well as generally ever, I guess.
Do you overpack or underpack? And what are essentials that you do pack when you're coming in to play a show?
I overpack. I cannot make a decision at home about what I'm going to want to wear. So I pack everything I own and I just figure it out when I'm there, which is not a really wise way to do things. I should be better at decision making, but I'm not. So I just pack everything that I have. I guess my mandatory for performances is my hat. Have to have my hat. So much like the drug runner in Goodfellas, I can't fly without my lucky hat. I just won't do it. Just won't go. Just won't do it. So
You don't have problems like jumping around on stage and it flies off a bunch?
no, it's a fitted baseball hat. It's perfect. So it's just the perfect hat.
Do you ever throw it out into the audience?
Hell no, I only have one. I
Re-
don't know what happens if I can't find another. I won't have my hat.
Have you ever crowd surfed out in the audience?
Yeah, when I was a younger man, those types of things were still in bounds. But now I'll stay on the stage and encourage others.
Yeah. I don't want to break something now that I like to crowd surf. I did it last year and it had been a while and I look
Nice.
back at that was dangerous at this age. I could break a hip. Um so is there during that dormant time, because you guys had some time apart, what did you do? What were you into?
I mean, the best way to kind of think about it, I think, is that when we started the band, we looked down and we were 18, 19 years old. And then we looked up and we were 32, 33. And it's like, whoa, where did life go for the last 12, 13 years? And there wasn't anything that drove the band apart. There wasn't like some prevalent drug issue or personality disorders or like some sort of,
That's a bummer. That's
clash.
a bummer.
We were just, like every record deal is like getting dealt a hand of cards that you have to play face up. And sometimes you get a great hand and you can, play accordingly. But sometimes you get a 9 high. And I think that when we were on Vengeance and Violence, we just didn't really get the hand that we needed to be able to continue. And it wasn't because we didn't like each other or because we just, best way to think about it is, have you ever loved something so much that you just have to put it down because you realize it can go no further? So we just remained friends. We all just kind of went out and did our own thing, got married, some had kids, some got careers. And, maybe 10 years later, we regrouped 2016. And we were like, we've always been friends through it, but we were like, hey, what if we just got back in the studio and dusted off the gear and tried it out and so see what happens. And that produced the 3 singles that we released, kind of in between the last album and today, which was a fun exercise. I think we had a lot of fun doing it, but yeah, that was a moment in time.
I think there is magic when you take a break too from what you love and come back to it, and you might even appreciate it more.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially when you're an artist, it's hard to stay on cycle and remain, not even remain inspired, just remain full of things to talk about. Like there's an old saying that I'll probably butcher, but it's an advertising saying, and um, a young photographer was trying to get a job at a newspaper, and he went in and he spoke with the editor and he said, hey, I'd like a job as a photographer. And the editor said, well, how many hours a day do you spend taking pictures? And the young photographer, wanting to impress the editor, said, I spend 10 hours a day taking pictures. And the editor said, 10 hours a day? That's crazy. And the photographer's like, what are you talking about? And he said, you should spend 2 hours a day taking pictures and 8 hours a day looking for things to take pictures of. And with
Oh,
music, it's the same thing. Like, you can spend all your time touring and this and that, but you need a little bit of time to be inspired and a little bit of time just to sit back and observe and allow yourself the free will of thinking about things. When you're locked into 3 months to deliver an album, to stay on cycle, to get your advances, to be able to hit the tour, to be able to do the things, at some point you just run out of gas. It's no indictment. Nobody can do that. You need to stop and spend some time finding things to take pictures of. Same way we need to find things to write songs about.
I
It
agree
doesn't
with
have to
that.
be
Not
good
just
stuff. It could
music.
be strife. It could just be the tension you face in your life. It's not like everything needs to be sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. Also, artists, to paint, comedians to set up a joke. There's a lot of times you need to pause and go, what's going on in the world, or get inspired. Heartache, I think, is the best inspiration for any art. So a couple divorces under your belt, maybe getting cheated on. Usually I like the band when they come back after that.
Listen,
Um,
you're right that the tectonic plates of strife that create that pressure are what form new land. But that
yeah.
doesn't happen unless there's tremendous pressure that forces things apart before they come together in a new and interesting way. And to your point, you need that. So whether that
Yes.
is a divorce, or whether that is a child, or whether that is a loss of someone dear, or whether that is some amazing opportunity that opened your eyes in ways you never could have imagined, you just need that type of inspiration wherever it comes from.
Yeah, that's why they even call a whole category now divorced dad rock. Because, those white guys in the garage chugging beers after work, throwing wrenches, they've been through some shit. And
Punching
it's,
drywall.
yes, that's my kind of man. That he's getting mad over nothing. And you're like, is there going to be a DV tonight? This is hot, It's my fave. Okay, I had a really important question written down. Have you ever written a song about receiving a blowjob?
No, no, I
Oh,
have not. As a matter of fact, no.
okay. All right. Maybe in the future, like your next
Maybe in the
album.
future. Maybe in the
Yeah.
future.
Do you have a favorite cartoon?
Um, I don't watch a lot of cartoons, but I would say probably South Park. Yeah.
Yeah. They hit it on the head. And you know what I love? They make fun of everybody. They don't leave
Oh,
anybody out.
and it's not just like I'm making fun of you. It's such an intelligent, humor that even I mean I feel like if you were making fun of me the way they make fun of people, I would just laugh because you guys are so funny that you can't help it happens to be about me, but it's so funny that it's still worth the humorous appreciation. So I'm with you.
It's done well.
It's just an intelligence behind it that I think I really appreciate.
Matt and Trey are awesome. Okay. Do you have a favorite holiday and why?
Oh, favorite holiday. You know what? I'm gonna say Memorial Day. And the reason
Oh,
that Memorial Day is my favorite holiday, probably not. I mean, again, it's a tremendous holiday to sit back and reflect, but it's also what I have always considered the beginning of summer. So in those moments, I'm a big fan of springtime. Fall is nice, but everything's dying. In spring, everything is being birthed. You're coming out of the cold, your first 55-degree day in 6 months. It might as well be 90 degrees. The grass starts to be green again. The leaves start to come out. You're like, oh my God, summer's in front of me. I can go outside with a t-shirt again. That type of excitement for me is that's where I come alive every year. And so Memorial Day is kind of like the official start of fuck yeah, the best part of the year is here. So
you don't hear that one a lot. I get Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween, and I like fall. And never thought of it the way you stated it. Things are starting to die, so I guess I like death, and so it's an exciting time. Do you have any
it's
Halloween plans?
no, I mean, we just hang out. My wife and I just hang out in our driveway and give out candy to, folks and play
Lots of
music.
kiddos or no kiddos?
No kiddos, but we just sit and
Oh,
drink beer and just hang out and just give out candy and it's chill, like the good neighborhood folks. And it's an excuse to sit outside, listen to music and drink beer at night. So
you got to
we'll
start
take it.
popping out kids. You guys need to get on that.
One day I'll grow up. Until
Yeah.
then,
I have kids and I didn't grow up. I want to have more. They keep you young.
fair enough.
It's an
Fair enough.
excuse to be at the skate park and act like an immature dick bag, but I'm like, "Oh, I'm with my kids." You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah. So what's coming up next for Dry Kill Logic? What's coming up in 2026 too?
So, now that we've wrapped up Aftershock, that's the end of the shows for us this year. We are officially headed into the studio to start writing the next full length. So this will be our first full length album since 2006. So we're really excited about that. We've got the album title, which I will tell you here. Drum roll, please. Your Sins Will Find You is going.
Ooh.
So we're super stoked about that. And then in 2026, we are going to be doing a bunch of tour dates under the headline of the Decades of Distance tour. So we're going to be going back to markets we haven't been to since 2004, 2005. We're going to try to keep ticket prices low. We're going to play, nights long set, play a bunch of songs from all of the records, a couple things we've never played live. So I think the idea now is go back and just kind of, revisit everybody and just say hello again in the markets we haven't been in a while. And we'll do
Come
that.
back to SAC too.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And then
I love it. Somebody needs you. Is there a ghost at the so your sins will find you. Do you have a sin that you
no.
can admit to?
No, I mean
you
nothing.
don't sin.
I just think that the world today, we just find ourselves.
I have sinner tattooed on me.
Oh, there you go. Nice one.
Yeah.
I think we just end up finding ourselves like detached from, the what goes around comes around, and we don't think enough about the come around. So I think that your sense of folly is just the idea that like you cannot run from the things that you've done wrong. At some point, you will be exposed.
God. Yeah, I know I'm a baddie. I have some sins. Might be have to take care of. We'll see. Thank you. Speaking of
Thank
sins,
you.
Cliff, for coming by Steph's Rock Show virtually because of me being a naughty bean. And I look forward to having you guys back on again. And if you guys tour through Sacramento, I'll have to come check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we'll be back. I don't know when, but appreciate it. Thank you again.